Same way I open every week, I think. Another great team coming in for a great SEC series in Founders Park. So hoping to see some great electric crowds, hoping to see some great baseball on our part, and have a very important series this weekend. So very excited for it.
Is there an update on Will Tippett's status?
Will not be available this weekend. He's in concussion protocol, but he's also nursing a minor knee injury that happened on the exact same play. So he won't be available this weekend, but we're hopeful that it won't be much longer before he's able to play again for us.
Hey, Mark, with the pitching rotation, have you decided who you're going with again? Is it going to be the same three, or are you making any changes?
We're going to go Kimball Jones TBA just to maintain some flexibility in case we need it. So that's what you can announce right now, Kimball Jones TBA.
John?
It seems like Kentucky does a whole lot really well offensively. What stands out to you most about what they do well?
Yeah, I think the first thing that jumps off the page with them is the stolen base. So you have to be ready for the stolen base. They hit for power. They hit close to 300. They score runs at a pretty good clip. So it's just a well-rounded offense. It's a well-rounded team. They pitch well. They're good out of the bullpen. They play good defense. It's just they have a 32-7 record just because I think they're very, very good across the board.
And to follow up on stolen bases, they lead the league in attempts by a lot. I feel like do y'all change anything about what y'all do in terms of hold times or pitch calling, or is it just being cognizant of that's what they do?
Well, I think there's certain things that you just do in general to try to minimize the stolen base against you, but I think you probably need to have a little bit more heightened awareness. You need to make sure the other team knows that you're going to be aware that that's one of their weapons. And so does that mean we pick off more? Does that mean we're quicker to the plate and use more slide steps? It'll be a little bit of everything, but just know that we are aware of it, and we will be prepared throughout the week, and you hope that you can do a good job of making sure that's not a part of the game that really hurts you.
I got a couple for you. With Roman, obviously had the thumb injury last week. What were you kind of seeing from him before that start, and how was kind of his week working back from that?
Yeah, he was doing really well last week. Obviously, when he came out of the game, there were no runs on the scoreboard. I think he had at least 5 strikeouts through 2 innings, so he was doing really well. It was unfortunate that he had to come out of the game, but it was a fluky thing. He had a great work week. He should be good and ready to go this weekend, so hopefully he pitches just as well, but is able to go much, much further into the game.
And then obviously it's kind of a break glass in case of emergency, but if something were to happen to Lelis, do you have a third shortstop on this roster you'd feel comfortable with?
Yeah, Lee Croy, that's something we've done this week. Lee Croy would slide over to shortstop. Cassis would slide to third. So we do have some contingency plans in case something were to happen. But we're saying our prayers that it doesn't.
Man.
Coach, you said you guys were close last weekend. That's something that was quoted I saw everywhere. How do you get closer this weekend?
Well, we got to get over that hump. We keep playing toe-to-toe with all the best teams in the country, but we need to win one of these series against one of these top 5 teams. It's just a matter of it. Most of the time, it's a matter of one more hit. It's a matter of one more play on defense. It's a matter of making one more pitch that prevents a 2-run single with 2 outs against you. It really, all these games are coming down to one play on either side, and we need to be the ones to get that one more play on the positive side. And if you do that, you win the game, you win the series. It's that simple.
With Ethan, it seemed like he really just struggled at the plate last week. I don't think he had a hit. Was there something you noticed just from watching live or maybe afterwards in film that you noticed in his swing that maybe looked a little off? And what do you say to a guy like that, as someone that's probably going to be able to turn around at some point, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the best hitters in the country, and he will continue to be that. We dug into it after the weekend was over, and he got very few pitches to hit last week. But he swung out of the zone a lot. He was just a little bit too anxious. He's a guy that wants to help propel us to be one of the best teams in the country. And when he knows he's not doing that, or they're not allowing him to do that, last week he allowed it to get him a little bit frustrated. So I think he'll learn from it. He'll stay within the strike zone. And we've told him he needs to have that Barry Bonds mentality. If they're going to walk you, you've got to take your walk. If they're going to throw you a strike, then you do your damage. Last week, I just thought he got out of the strike zone too much based on the number of strikes they were throwing him, and that's why you saw him struggle. But it's something he'll learn from, and he's worked hard this week on it.
Parker Nolan, veteran guy, lots of baseball at Vandy. Is there anything different about him here versus, the kind of player he was coming in, or has he just kind of provided a steady kind of progression over the course of his career?
Yeah, I think steady is the perfect word for him. I think he's just had a really nice, steady progression. I think he's hitting a little higher in the lineup for us right now than he did at Vanderbilt last year, and I just think that's a sign that he's come a long way. He's hitting 282 right now, but we know he got off to a very slow start. So I'd say in the last 20 to 25 games, he's been one of our better hitters. He's hitting well over 300. So I just think he's a steady influence, and he's a mature kid, and he's just a good, solid baseball player across the board. And I think he's better now than he was a year ago.
Back, Rick.
Hey, Mark, how special is it for the program to be honoring Lindell Bradley this weekend?
Yeah, very much so. As far as I know, we've made plans that he's going to speak to the team in this room on Friday before the series kicks off, and then he's going to throw out the first pitch on Sunday. So obviously very significant history-wise and his impact on baseball on this school. So we're very happy that he's being honored this weekend.
Any other questions? Amanda?
I just talked to South Carolina softball, and their season ends a lot quicker than your guys's. And I asked them, does the season feel like it's going by fast? Does it feel like it's crunch time? Are you guys in that phase right now in the season? Just a couple more series left. Is it crunch time?
I mean, every day here is crunch time for us. Every game feels important. Every practice feels like you need to pay very strict attention to every detail. So I just think it's a journey. From opening day till the last day in Omaha is a journey, and you just have to respect each day. Some weeks go quicker than others. Some weeks feel long based on if it's travel, if it's home, are you winning, have you lost? But at the end of the day, our goal is to make sure that we take a very consistent approach so that in the end, in the big picture, you're where you want to be.
With a guy like Lelis, this is kind of a big weekend for him with, the ability to start at shortstop maybe the entire weekend. What did you see from him last week that really stood out, and what are some signs of progression you feel like you could see from him this weekend?
Yeah, I think he gave us a nice spark offensively. He took some very competitive at-bats. He had the two doubles, both to right field, but he also had the hit through the six hole. So he took some pretty competitive at-bats and sparked our offense. I think we need to get more consistency out of him defensively. And shortstop, outside of catcher, shortstop's the hardest position for a freshman to play at this level. So we just need to continue to see him have confidence, play with confidence, and make all the routine plays.
You're facing a staff that pitches to contact a lot. I think they're last in the SEC in strikeouts. Does that make maybe a guy like Austin Brenling a little bit? Do you want him back in the lineup this weekend? Is that kind of useful when you're facing a staff that wants to kind of hit bats?
Yeah, Austin will be in the lineup this weekend. So as we've done probably throughout the year, because we've had some ups and downs, we are going to try to look for the best recipe for this team. And we're going to continue to try different looks and different things until we feel like we have the perfect recipe. It's no different than trying to come up with what's the best recipe for your restaurant, and once you find it, then okay, this is what we're going to stick with consistently. I still think we're in the tweaking phase of trying to find what is our best identity, what is our best way to win games. Is it a power approach, or does it need to be more speed and athleticism? We're going to continue to evaluate that. Obviously, Brenling helped with our speed and athleticism last weekend. And so that spurred some conversation among our coaching staff about, is that maybe a better style of play for us in 2024? We know 23 was a power-laden team. Maybe this year we need to continue to look at other ways to score runs because we just haven't quite recaptured that power magic that we had last year. So we will continue to try things. Last week being an example with him, and doesn't mean you won't see some things this week that maybe you haven't seen all year. How's that for a tease?
What are we going to see this week that we haven't seen all year?
As I said, it's a tease, John. By definition, that means you're going to have to wait to see. Got to keep you guys interested somehow.
Any other questions?
Coach, it is finals week. Way back when you were a Tar Heel, what was your least favorite subject and what was your favorite subject?
This is about me now, huh? Least favorite subject? Anything that didn't regard baseball. I was a communications major, so that's not to be confused, with all due respect, with the biochem majors and the physics majors. Academics were important to me, and I wanted to do as well as I could, but in all honesty, I probably didn't focus on academics as much as I stress to our guys now as a coach and as a mentor. I liked the classes that I think I had an interpersonal communication class that I thought, I use those classes as much as anything now as a coach than I did my prerequisite classes that we all had to take in college. I use those classes much more now as a coach than probably any of those other things. So sorry not to get a little bit more specific, but it's the best I can do.
Any more questions? All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.